while only 35 kilometers of water separate Lombok from Bali. To cross this strait is to traverse one of the planet's most profound yet invisible boundaries. This is the Wallace Line, a deep water trench that remained a formidable marine barrier even during the Ice Ages, cleaving the animal kingdom in two. To the west lies the fauna of Asia, to the east the distinct species of Australasia. Here on Lombok, the shift is palpable, not in grand monuments, but in the details. The raucous call of the sulfur-crested cockatoo, replacing the chatter of Bali's monkeys. The very air humming with a different biological frequency. It's a subtle but powerful reminder that the island's story isn't just written in its volcanic peaks or sandy shores, but in the ancient, deep ocean currents that dictated which forms of life would ultimately make this land their home. Suspended high above the churning waters of the East China Sea, the Shixi Suspension Bridge is more than a simple crossing. It's a colossal steel ligament connecting an ever-growing archipelago. Its main span stretches for over 1,600 meters, a silver thread stitched across a vast expanse of sea and sky. But its true genius lies not just in its scale, but in its resilience. This region is a corridor for Pacific typhoons, and the bridge was meticulously engineered with a split two-box girder deck, a design that allows ferocious, hurricane-force gales to pass through the structure rather than against it, effectively letting the giant breathe with the storm. From this vantage point, you feel the immense forces at play and understand that this structure isn't an imposition on the landscape, but a carefully considered negotiation with it, a testament to the ingenuity required to coexist with nature's formidable power. From the shimmering expanse of the Cholistan Desert, Darawar Fort emerges not as a ruin, but as a declaration. Its 40 colossal bastions, perfectly uniform and visible for miles, form an immense perimeter of 1,500 meters, a stunning display of symmetry and power. But this fortress wasn't built merely for defense. It was a strategic anchor, a choke point controlling the lifeblood of the ancient world, water and trade. For centuries, it stood guard over the now-vanished Hakra River, a vital artery for caravans crossing this arid landscape. Today, the river is a ghost etched into the sand, yet the fort remains, its 30-meter-high walls, a silent chronicle of empires built on a lifeline that has long since turned to dust. It stands not just as a monument to the Nawabs who last shaped it, but as a profound testament to the impermanence of power and the quiet, inexorable victory of the desert. The whitewashed architecture of Polignano Amare seems to grow organically from the limestone cliffs. Cliffs that are not merely a foundation, but the town's very soul. This is the dramatic Adriatic edge of the Merge Plateau, a vast block of Cretaceous limestone riddled with a network of sea caves, or grotta. For millennia, the relentless action of wind and water has sculpted these cavities, creating a subterranean world beneath the city streets. The town's most iconic cove, Lama Manukau, is in fact the fossilized mouth of an ancient river that carved its path through this rock. This intimate relationship between land and sea has defined life here since its earliest days, when these caves likely offered shelter to prehistoric communities. The very structure of the town, with its foundations sunk deep into the porous stone, is a testament to a centuries-long dialogue between human settlement and a dynamic, ever-changing geology. To walk these narrow streets, perched some 20 meters above the churning sea, is to understand that Polignano is more than just a beautiful facade. It is a living chronicle of adaptation, a place where every archway and balcony tells a story of coexistence with the profound. The luminous, turquoise flats surrounding Nusa Lembongan are more than just a tropical cliché. For generations, they were the island's primary fields of harvest. Until the early 2000s, the economy here was almost entirely dependent on seaweed farming, a meticulous form of marine agriculture that painted the shallows in a patchwork of greens and browns. Families would tend to their underwater plots of Euhuma cottony, a valuable algae destined for global markets as a thickening agent in countless products. But as sea temperatures began to rise and international prices fluctuated, this way of life became increasingly fragile. Today, a new industry has taken root in these same waters. The old farming longboats have largely been repurposed, now ferrying travelers to coral gardens instead of collecting seaweed lines. What we see is not a simple replacement of one economy with another, but a complex, layered landscape where the ghost of a recent past informs a very different and uncertain future. Most great cities are born of deliberate design, but Fairbanks was conceived by chance and circumstance. In the summer of 1901, a heavily laden steamboat ran aground on the silty banks of the Chena River, stranding a determined trader named E.T. Barnett, far from his intended destination. What began as a makeshift, reluctant trading post was irrevocably transformed the following year, when a prospector struck gold just 12 miles from this spot. That single discovery ignited a rush that forged Alaska's Golden Heart City from the wilderness. To walk these streets today, built upon a shifting foundation of permafrost that freezes and thaws with the seasons, is to feel that tenacious origin story. This isn't just a city. It is a testament to human adaptability, a community founded not by a planner's pen, but by a grounded riverboat and the unyielding allure of gold buried deep within the frozen earth. The islands of Komodo National Park appear forged in a forgotten, primeval era, their sun-scorched savanna hillsides rolling down to waters of impossible turquoise. But this dramatic landscape is more than just a relic. It is a living laboratory of evolution, defined by powerful, unseen forces. We are standing on the Wallace Line, an invisible biological boundary first identified over 150 years ago, where the deep-water straits prevented species from crossing. To the west, the fauna is distinctly Asian. To the east, it echoes Australia. Here, in this volatile transition zone, whipped by some of the planet's most treacherous currents, life has taken a unique and sometimes formidable path. The iconic dragons, apex predators that have roamed these 29 volcanic islands for millions of years, are the ultimate embodiment of this profound isolation. They are a visceral testament to how geography dictates destiny, a powerful reminder that the most significant borders on our world are not drawn on maps by humans, but by the slow inex. Against the ancient, verdant backdrop of the Margalla Hills, the Faisal Mosque presents a strikingly unconventional silhouette, a deliberate departure from the domes that have defined mosque architecture for centuries. Its form was the result of an international competition in 1969, won by Turkish architect Vedat Dalokay, who drew his primary inspiration not from historical precedent, but from the elemental, angular grace of a nomadic Bedouin tent. This vast, eight-sided concrete shell, clad in gleaming white marble, creates a powerful dialogue between human ingenuity and the enduring natural world at its feet. Its four towering minarets, each standing 260 feet tall, are modeled on the proportions of the Kaaba in Mecca, subtly grounding this modern marvel in sacred geometry. More than just a building, it is a testament to a nation's identity, a synthesis of global design and deep-rooted faith, looking as much to the future as it does to the desert origins of its past. At first glance, Cuenca's famous Casas Colgadas seem to defy gravity, a precarious and almost whimsical architectural choice. But their existence is born not from fantasy, but from a profound medieval necessity. When the fortified city began to expand around the 15th century, its inhabitants faced a stark reality dictated by geology. There was nowhere to build but out. Perched on a narrow limestone spur carved over millennia by the Huecar and Júcar river gorges, the only solution was to engineer these vertical extensions, cantilevering homes directly over the sheer drop. This audacious feat created an urban silhouette that appears to grow organically from the rock, blurring the line between the natural fortress and the human settlement it protected for centuries. It's a powerful illustration of ingenuity in dialogue with the land, a city not merely built upon a cliff, but woven into its very fabric. Each balcony a silent testament to the enduring impulse to adapt and thrive. Emerging from the mist-shrouded hills of Fujian, they appear almost otherworldly, giant circular structures that seem to have grown from the earth itself. These are the Yongding Tulu, fortified communal homes of the Hakka people, a tradition stretching back to the 12th century. Their ingenious design is a direct response to a history of conflict and the need for collective security against bandits. The windowless outer walls, some reaching nearly 2 meters thick, are a formidable blend of rammed earth, sticky rice, and stone, engineered to withstand both attack and the passage of time. Step through the single, heavily fortified gate, and the austere exterior gives way to a vibrant, self-contained world. Here, hundreds of identical rooms, organized by family branch, open onto a bustling central courtyard, a shared space for worship, work, and life. These are not merely ancient fortresses. They are a profound architectural statement on community, a living blueprint for resilience where a single clan could function as a small, protected kingdom for generations. Clinging to the very tip of its rocky promontory, Portovenere seems to command the entrance to the Gulf of Poets. Its name whispers of ancient origins, a legacy from the Roman era, when it was known as Portus Veneris, or the Port of Venus. A temple, dedicated to the goddess, once crowned this headland as a sacred beacon for sailors, its foundations now supporting the starkly beautiful Gothic Church of St. Peter, consecrated in 1198. The very rock here tells a story. The dramatic cliffs are streaked with veins of rare portoro, a deep black marble laced with threads of gold, a geological treasure sought after since antiquity. It was this raw, elemental power that captivated romantic poets like Lord Byron, who saw in this landscape a perfect fusion of nature's force and human history. Here, myth, geology, and faith have been layered over 2 millennia, creating a place that is not just seen, but profoundly felt. Beneath the tranquil surface of Galdar's modern town square, with its sun-drenched cafes and neo-Gothic church, lies the undeniable pulse of a forgotten kingdom. This was a Galdar, the royal seat of one of the 2 pre-Hispanic Guanartemados that ruled Gran Canaria for centuries before the Castilian conquest. The most profound evidence of this lost world is not found in grand monuments, but sealed underground within the Cueva Pintada. Discovered by a farmer in the 19th century, its walls are a canvas of astonishingly preserved geometric motifs, triangles, circles, and squares, painted in red and black ochre over 600 years ago. These are not simple decorations. They are a complex, silent language, possibly a lunar calendar, or a ritualistic map, offering a rare and intimate glimpse into the worldview of the ancient Canarians. To witness it is to realize that this island's history is not just written in colonial architecture, but in the earth itself, a story of resilience and deep cultural memory waiting to be understood. This landscape appears to be a work of deliberate artistry, yet its origins are purely geological, a story written in quartz sandstone over 380 million years. What was once the floor of an ancient ocean was tectonically uplifted, and for millennia, the patient work of erosion began. Here, in this subtropical climate, the primary sculptor is not wind, but ice. Water seeps into the vertical joints of the rock, and through countless seasons of freezing and thawing, expands to slowly cleave these monoliths from the parent plateau. The very mists that now wreath these more than 3,000 pillars in an ethereal shroud are a reminder of the moisture that is both their creator and their eventual destroyer. To stand among them is to witness the result of an impossibly slow, yet relentless force, a profound lesson in geological time, where a single stone spire represents an epoch, and the entire forest, a testament to the planet's patient, creative power. Here in the heart of Asia, the Altai Mountains rise not merely as a geological feature, but as a silent witness to the deep, tangled history of our own species. For millennia, these valleys have served as a corridor, a meeting point not just for empires, but for different kinds of human. It was within a limestone cave, hidden in the Anhui River Valley, that a single piece of a child's finger bone rewrote our origin story. This was the first evidence of the Denisovans, a distinct lineage of archaic humans who lived here alongside Neanderthals for over 200,000 years. Standing in this immense landscape, you begin to understand it not as wilderness, but as an ancestral home. The wind that moves through the larch forests seems to carry whispers of this shared past, a time when the world was home to more than one kind of human, and these mountains provided shelter to them all. To travel here is to walk through the pages of a story we are only just beginning to read. Geologically, Nusa Penida is an entirely different world from its volcanic neighbor, Bali. This island is a colossal block of uplifted Miocene limestone, an ancient seabed forced from the ocean over millions of years. This origin story is etched into every feature of the landscape. The porous, karst topography means that rainwater doesn't form rivers on the surface. Instead, it carves a hidden subterranean world, leaving the land above arid and challenging for cultivation. For centuries, this scarcity shaped the island's identity, earning it a reputation in Balinese lore as a desolate place of exile. Yet today, this very geological truth is the source of its profound beauty. The relentless power of the Indian Ocean, crashing against this limestone mass for millennia, has sculpted the dramatic sea cliffs and natural arches like Angel's Billabong, creating a coastline that is less a gentle shore and more a raw, powerful testament to the planet's deep, unhurried artistry. This seemingly tranquil surface hides a story of unimaginable power. During the last ice age, a glacier more than 100 kilometers long and 1,000 meters thick ground its way through this valley. The lake we see today, plunging to a depth of over 300. Carved into the southern Alps like a colossal lightning bolt, Lake Wakatipu is more than just a vessel for glacial meltwater. It is a place of profound rhythm. Ancient Maori legend speaks of a sleeping giant, Matau, whose immense heart still beats deep beneath these waters, a story that finds a fascinating echo in scientific reality. This is the lake's famous breath, a standing wave, or seiche, that causes the entire body of water to rhythmically rise and fall by as much as 20 centimeters, roughly every 27 minutes. This pulse is not magic, but a complex interplay between the lake's 80-kilometer length, its unique shape, and fluctuating atmospheric pressure. Standing on its shore, you witness a place where geology and mythology converge, where the empirical rhythm of a seiche feels indistinguishable from the steady, slumbering heartbeat of a giant, a constant reminder of the powerful forces that both shape and animate this land. Few places on Earth reveal the sheer velocity of geologic time quite like Glacier Bay. When Captain George Vancouver charted this coastline in 1794, he faced a colossal, unified wall of ice, where we now navigate over 65 miles of open fjord. A mere 85 years later, naturalist John Muir paddled into this same inlet to find the ice had retreated an astonishing 48 miles, unveiling a new world. This staggering transformation has created an unparalleled living laboratory for what ecologists call primary succession. Traveling up the bay is like moving through time itself. You pass from the mature spruce hemlock forests at the mouth, established over 2 centuries, to the hardy alders and willows of the mid-bay, and finally to the pioneer mosses and lichens, clinging to the raw, scoured rock near the Tidewater Glacier's faces. Here, you are not merely an observer of a static landscape, but a witness to the powerful, patient, and ongoing act of creation. The beaches of Belitung are dominated by a feature both startling and serene. Colossal granite megaliths, smooth as river stones, scattered across the sand and shallow seas. These are not volcanic debris, but the exposed heart of an ancient magma chamber that cooled and solidified over 200 million years ago during the Triassic period. Part of the Great Southeast Asian Tin Belt, these geological titans were once buried miles deep within the Earth's crust. Millennia of relentless erosion have stripped away the softer, surrounding rock, leaving these resilient cores to be sculpted and polished by wind and water into their current, otherworldly forms. The result is a landscape that feels less like a tropical island and more like a primordial sculpture garden, where deep time is a visible, tangible element. To stand among them is to feel a profound sense of scale, a quiet conversation between the fleeting moment and the immense, silent history of the planet itself, written in stone. Fuerteventura offers a profound lesson in deep time, a narrative written not in ink but in stone and sand. As the geological elder of the Canaries, it broke the Atlantic surface more than 20 million years ago, and its history since has been one of slow, relentless subtraction. Where its younger neighbors still brandish sharp volcanic cones, Fuerteventura's ancient massifs have been patiently sculpted by millennia of wind and water into soft, undulating spines. This constant aerial carving, driven by the trade winds, has created a landscape of immense scale and quiet grandeur. The vast, ochre-colored plains, known as Malpais or Badlands, are the exposed skeletons of ancient lava flows, while the sweeping dunes of Coralejo are not merely Saharan dust, but also the ground-down heart of the island itself. To stand here amidst the silence is to feel the weight of epochs, to witness a place that has surrendered its volcanic fire, and now wears its immense age not as a ruin, but as a serene, sun-bleached crown. While Florence and Siena vied for dominance, Arezzo cultivated a different kind of power, one rooted in a history far older than the Renaissance rivalries that define Tuscany. Long before the rise of Rome, this was a formidable Etruscan capital, one of the 12 great cities of the Dodecapolis, a center of bronze work that produced masterpieces like the Chimera. This ancient legacy of creation seems to have seeped into the very stones, re-emerging centuries later in figures like Giorgio Vasari. It was from here, his hometown, that Vasari not only practiced art, but invented the discipline of art history itself, chronicling the lives of the masters. Walking through the quiet, sloping expanse of the Piazza Grande, you feel this intellectual weight, a city not merely preserved in time, but one that has consistently shaped our understanding of it, content in its own profound and enduring narrative. The almost supernatural turquoise of Lake Tekapo is no simple trick of the light, nor is it merely a reflection of the sky. It is the signature of a landscape still in motion, a story told in water. Suspended within these glacial-fed depths are billions of fine particles of rock flour, stone ground to a silken powder by the immense, grinding pressure of the southern Alps. For millennia, the vast Godley and Tasman glaciers have been slowly sculpting the mountainsides, their seasonal meltwater carrying this fine sediment down into the valley. Here, the particles catch and refract the full spectrum of sunlight, scattering the shorter blue and green wavelengths to create an opaque, brilliant color that seems to radiate from within. To stand on these shores is to witness a process that began more than 10,000 years ago, a quiet but constant reminder that this serene basin, now the heart of the Aoraki Mackenzie International Dark Sky Reserve, was carved not by gentle hands, but by the relentless, colossal force of ancient ice. Bogor's identity is written in the clouds. Known locally as Kota Hujan, the Rain City, its climate is no mere meteorological quirk. Cradled at the foot of two dormant volcanoes, Mount Salak and Mount Gede, its unique geography traps moisture, triggering near-daily thunderstorms that have defined its character for centuries. It was this relentless humidity that the Dutch harnessed in 1817, establishing the Kebun Raya Bogor, one of the oldest and most vital botanical gardens on the planet. This sprawling 87-hectare expanse was never just a pleasure ground. It was a strategic, open-air laboratory. Here, species were collected and cultivated, shaping global trade in commodities from cinchona bark for quinine to the very oil palms that now dominate landscapes across the tropics. Standing here as the afternoon sky darkens, you understand that Bogor isn't simply a place that receives rain. It is a city fundamentally irrigated by history, a living testament to the powerful confluence of empire, science, and the unyielding forces of nature. Here, at the easternmost edge of Java, where the island reaches for Bali across a narrow strait, lies Banyuwangi. It's a name that means fragrant water, but its true essence is that of a historical sanctuary. When the mighty Majapahit Empire crumbled in the late 15th century, this region became the last redoubt for its Hindu-Javanese aristocracy, artists, and priests. They found refuge in this fertile pocket of land, protected by the formidable volcanic spine of the Ijen Plateau to the west and the sea to the east. This geographic isolation allowed a unique culture to crystallize. The Osing, their dialect, a direct descendant of Old Javanese, can still be heard in the villages, a living echo of a fallen kingdom. What we witness here isn't just a beautiful, the name Fairy Meadows wasn't born from ancient folklore, but was bestowed by German climbers in the 1930s, who found this surreal alpine pasture to be an almost unbelievable sanctuary. At an altitude of over 3,300 meters, this gentle, green expanse sits in the immediate and colossal shadow of Nanga Parbat. The contrast is profound. Here, you find tranquil streams and grazing ponies, yet looming above is the 9th highest mountain on Earth, a sheer wall of rock and ice known far more ominously as the Killer Mountain. This meadow is therefore more than a beautiful foreground. It's a geological reprieve, a rare, life-sustaining plateau offering a crucial, psychological, and physical foothold against one of the world's most formidable ascents. To stand in this place is to witness a stark duality: the serene, life-affirming beauty of the meadow existing beside the raw, indifferent power of the peak, a landscape that offers not just a view, but a deep perspective on nature's fragile balances.